Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another production of the West Bend Community Cable Public Access Channel. My name is Jim German. Today is June 19th. It's a Sunday. It's a hot day, and I'm at the 4th Annual Rotary Seafood Festival here in downtown West Bend. I'm at Regner Park, and I'm talking with a couple of the guys who are responsible for this event, Joel and Mike. Pat. Yeah, okay. Let's start with you, Joel. How about your last name? What your function is with the thing, and we can maybe find out about what's happening here down in Regner Park. Your first name and last name, sir?
My first name's Joel. My last name's Schneider. I'm the chair for this year's Seafood Fest.
And once again, I think we said it was the 4th annual, isn't it?
4th annual.
Okay. Who's going to be the chair for next year?
Pat Shearer, standing.
Oh, I'll be darn right.
I'm the heir apparent.
Oh, this is the best. All right. So, tell us a little bit about this one, Joel. What have you got for us? What are we going to be looking at today?
Well, we have lobster, and we have other sampler items of seafood, such as, help me out here, Pat. What else do we got hiding around here?
Fish and chips.
Stuffed crab.
Clams.
Jalapeno poppers, seafood salad.
Seafood gumbo. We got smoked trout, smoked shrubs, shrimp. You name it, we probably have it. Mussels.
Geez, I don't know. Both of you guys are talking. I don't know who to talk to. Let's get a little bit from Pat here, right? Pat.
All right.
Pat Shearer.
Yes, my name is Pat Shearer, and I'm the heir apparent, I guess. I'll be the chairman next year, and I'm learning all the stuff from Joel this year, all the stuff that takes to set this event up, and the food distribution process and everything, and so that we can put on another successful fest next year.
This is a 3-day festival. I must admit, this is one of the most ambitious projects that any service club has ever undertaken in the city, as far as I'm concerned. How many people are involved in putting this thing on, Pat?
Well, we have 134 members in our Rotary Club, and that's the Monday noon club, and also the Tuesday morning Rotary Club is also very involved in putting on this event. So there's probably close to 200 people that put the event on. And plus we involve as many of our spouses and volunteers from around the community as we can pull together. A lot of our Rotarians pull in people from their businesses and ask them to volunteer and to help us out during the event.
Yeah, boy, I tell you what, didn't you send out a call to some of the other service clubs also to take as much help or get as much help as you could?
Oh, we'll never turn away a volunteer.
You might even generate some more volunteers for next year with people watching this broadcast.
Okay.
In fact, Pat, why don't you turn to the camera and explain how did you get your face so burnt up like that?
Well, I was down here on Wednesday when it was 100 degrees, I believe it hit in West Bend, and we were setting up tables and chairs and taking out Nesco roasters and all that kind of stuff, and I didn't put on any sunscreen, and I burnt my forehead and my nose pretty good, so it was since then I've been wearing my baseball cap, and I've been all right.
Okay. Well, that's just a little sidelight, but let me get back to Joel here for this year's event. This thing, as you're all going to see later, is just covering the entire park here at Regner Park, and I'm interested to know. In fact, I think the community would be interested to know how much this event does gross for your club.
I think our sales this year we're estimating to being close to 90,000.
90,000. See, that's quite a big event that you have, and exactly where then do all the proceeds go, or all the profits?
Well,
this is you're grossing 90. Of course, you're not
right.
going to clear 90, but
No.
the profits for this?
We stick 6,000 each year into the Riverwalk to expand the Milwaukee River and preserve it for our children to come. The rest of the monies go to other needy groups such as the food pantry, the Boy Scouts, and other things like that throughout the community.
Good. And Pat, is it again?
Yes.
Tell us about some of the entertainment then that you've had this year.
Friday night we had Street Life. That's the rock and roll band that performs with the Milwaukee Bucks, was here on Friday night. Last night we had Torpedoes. They're a 50s and 60s band that's here. And
I heard some good reports on those guys. They must have been pretty good.
Yeah, they had a couple. I think they have a Neil Diamond impersonator and an Elvis impersonator in their crew. We have a country western band this afternoon with line dancing, so anybody who's into line dancing could come out. And some of the different types of things, we have different people going around. We have a contortionist here this year who fits himself into about a 4x4 foot box.
We were watching him off camera just a little bit ago, and that guy's amazing. And where do you get all these people? Do you solicit? Do you open? How do you find these people?
Well, that one I have to compliment our entertainment chairman. That's John Cannonberg. He's done an excellent job in finding people throughout the community that for the entertainment type things. And probably one of the neatest things that I think is we have the boat rides across the river that people can rent paddle boats, and they can go out on a pontoon boat and take a ride up and down the river and see how actually nice the Riverwalk is progressing and different types of things like that.
You bet. That's some project that you folks have picked out. I think once again you earmarked a certain amount of money for the Riverwalk over a number of years, and you selected this project to pay for it. It's very, very ambitious project. What about the vendors that I see across the street, Joel? You said, how many vendors have you gotten? How do you go about obtaining those folks?
Well, the Women's Auxiliary, which is the wives of the Rotarians, have put this together for us in conjunction with the Seafood Fest. This year we have 68 craft fair vendors selling their wares. What was your other question?
Well, how do you get these folks? How do you get those? I mean, these folks looks like they make these things in their backyard, in their basements. There are a lot of arts and craft people out there. How do you go about? And do you charge them a stall rental or something?
Right. There's a rental for each stall that they're in. Mostly it's been word of mouth, to the best of my knowledge. We have done some advertisements to gain interest on it, but mostly word of mouth.
And if somebody's watching this again, would like to be in next year's Seafood Festival, how would they go about getting a spot?
Well, they can get a hold of me at 1-800-800-6978, or they can call Joanne Keycaver, and I don't know her telephone number.
Well, she'd be in West Bend, I'm guessing.
Right.
Well, all right, folks. We've heard the background of this fourth annual Seafood Festival, and I think now we're going to start taking a look around and show you what the heck there really is out here. Gentlemen, thanks for the interview. Joel, congratulations on this year's success, and Pat, good luck to you on next year's.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Folks, this is the Chief of Police of the City of West Bend. This is Jim Schwartz. Jim, we picked a nice day here, didn't we?
Sure did. I hope it cools off a little bit, but otherwise it looks like a perfect day for a festival like this.
Doesn't it ever? We had a little rain this morning, but all I think it did was keep the dust down.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Jim, as I was walking around here, I noticed that there's very little police protection. Of course, you're being a chief of police, you don't have to... Apparently you're not worried about much shootings and stabbings out here at the Rotary Seafood Festival.
Well, we don't live in that type of community, so we're not too worried about it. We have the officers occasionally who walk through and drive through the area. And then we've got the communications patrol. They're down here just about all the time the festival is open.
Uh-huh. Have you had any lobster, any of the seafood fair yet?
I'm not a real lobster fan, so I passed on that, but I had some stuffed shrimp and clams, and that was delicious. Really do a nice job down here.
Isn't that, what just always surprises me is that a service club who, where would they get any experience in preparing food can serve just knockout food like this? It blows me away.
Yeah, it sure is. They really do a fine job. And this grows every year, like most of our festivals and our events that are sponsored by organizations in the city. Now we've got the craft fair along the river, and I would imagine that'll expand every year too. So yeah. It's more than just coming down and eating. People can come down here and really enjoy themselves and have a good time. So.
Well, that's why we're doing this. For the folks who have maybe missed, who are shut-ins or can't get out or have missed this year's program, to see what goes on here at a seafood festival. It's quite a nifty little community undertaking.
Sure is. And it's really nice to see the community working together too, and I think we're very fortunate to live in a community like that.
Good. And how's the new job coming? I know you just got appointed chief just within the year. How's that working out?
Well, it's working out real well. Like I said, I've got good people to work with and good community to work in. So them are the two ingredients that you need.
Well, good. And thanks. Thanks so much for the interview, Jim, and good luck to you in your career.
Okay, thanks very much.
You're welcome. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Ralph is waving to me. Ralph Manthey, our cameraman, by the way. I forgot to introduce him before. I'm standing here with Jim Heiligenstein, the head lobster cook. How you doing, Jim?
I'm good.
This must be some hot area for you with the last couple of heat wave we had.
Saturday was tough. It really was. It was hot, and then these diesel, I think we could be out here at 10 below and still be warm.
Oh, you bet. I'm sure everybody has a question: is how many lobsters can you? How many lobsters are you going to cook up for us this year, and what's your capacity?
Well, we're going to do about 1,350, and that's within probably 150 or 200 of what we can really handle total.
And all these lobsters are pre-sold, aren't they?
They're all pre-sold.
And the price for that?
$17.50, which is a complete Maine lobster dinner.
Because you don't want to go making extra lobster without being sure that they're pre-sold.
Exactly.
If people don't show up for them, that's
Right.
too bad.
That's right.
And do you cook up all 1,350 or just wait for the crowd to get here? And
We cook them as the people come, because the key is they're fresh. These were shipped on Thursday, so conceivably Monday or Tuesday they were still swimming in the ocean. You can't get them any fresher than that in the Midwest.
Have you been doing this all 4 years?
Yeah.
How do you know so much about cooking lobster?
I like to cook.
You've done this. Apparently
Yeah.
you did this
Oh,
before
yeah,
this
yeah.
ever started.
I really love cooking. So
So besides lobsters, it looks like you're firing up baked potatoes and corn on the cob and a number of other things.
right, we've got corn and sweet corn, which is it's probably the first corn that you'll get here in West Bend. It comes in from Florida, and new potatoes, which makes it's kind of like a New England lobster feast.
So for the $17.50, I'm guessing you get the potato, the corn, and a couple lobster, 2 lobster maybe?
One lobster.
One lobster. How big is it?
It's about 1.25 pounds.
And where do you get these things from?
They're flown from Maine. They come in. Some of the labels over here have got Canada on them, and some of them have got I think Maine or Massachusetts. And we've got to lift. That dinger means we've got to lift the load out right now.
Folks, we're going to watch Jim take a load out. This is going to be interesting. Go ahead, Jim. You can see that it's a 2-man job to get these things out of here. That cooker is extremely hot. Here comes a container of about 2-3 dozen lobster. You can see them smoking. They're carrying them over to the serving area. This is pretty fascinating.
I want to see how they clean them up and everything.
Sure. Pat, how long do these lobsters cook in there, do you know?
Actually, Jim would be the person that he's got that down to a science. He's been doing this for the past 4 years. But I know it all depends upon the number that they're boiling at the time, and the size and all those different types of things. But
no kidding. So it's a time per unit.
yeah, it is.
Pretty fascinating.
Why don't you
Oh,
come
let's-
back here and see how they're preparing these?
Okay, Ralph, can you come on in here and watch how they cut these things apart? You can see what's happening here. They're starting to prepare these lobsters. Apparently they cracked the shell first. This is Gary Berglund splitting the tail now. It looks like an assembly line process. That's the start. Now he passes. Yeah, he passes over to Dr. Bob Bodensteiner. And then here's where we get the rest of the food. Oh boy! Don't drop that plate on the floor. You saw the corn and the potatoes being prepared before, and now the roll and everything is apparently is all finished off here. And that's it. Out to the crowd. Now we're in the crowd, and I'm talking here with the Dudovic family. This is Jim and Marilyn Dudovic, and apparently they're just about finishing their lobster dinner. Let's start with you, Jim, since you're closer. How do you like this stuff?
I think it's great.
Yeah?
It's our 3rd year now, and every year we look forward to it because it's really good. I usually buy a ticket for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Oh, you get lobstered out by the end of the weekend.
Yeah.
How about you, Marilyn? You like this?
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, everything, the arts and crafts, the meals.
Do you try any of the other food? Do you try any of the stuffed clams?
The stuffed shrimp I've had already, and it's good. That's pretty much.
You folks. Yeah, oh yeah. You folks sticking around for the line dancing country western music today?
Yeah, we're going to stick around for a while and do that too.
Earlier on today, with all the rain, we thought it might be a little bit of a wet one here. These folks have.
We were here
Seems-
yesterday. It was really hot.
Oh yeah.
You know, so we figured we weren't going to eat anything yesterday, so we waited for today.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the interview, folks, and let's see what can I. Can I finish the rest of this? Thanks, guys, and we'll probably be seeing you folks here again next year. Folks, we're in the children's tent now, and we're getting a look at a mural that was painted by one of our local artists. I'm guessing. I'm standing here with Michael Wizzardi, the
Well, in this role, the captain of the children's tent for Seafood Fest.
I was looking for your proper title, the superintendent of school.
Also that, yes, on a more permanent basis, I hope.
Right. So you're the captain of the children's tent, and of course there's a number of things going on in here. In our background, we hear Mother Goose or somebody telling us a story.
There's been lots. This is a new tent for us this year, of course, the children's tent.
That's what I heard.
There's been a lot of activity here. Carol Atkins painted this mural, and the face paintings that we have in front with Ariel and Free Willy. Kids have been coloring all week and putting additional animals on the mural. We've had Ronald McDonald here. One of our local librarians, a storyteller with Mother Goose, has been here.
She's telling a story right now on stage.
Yes, and it's been very successful through the weekend. We've had a lot, and we have a special menu for kids that are hot dogs and hamburgers and little fish treats and that kind of thing. So it's been a very nice area for families.
I see out in the front too that you had a magician doing some tricks, and maybe that contortionist man and all that.
Yeah, we had a juggler, a contortionist, and there was a animal balloon fellow that was doing that as well. So we've had a lot of activity at this end of the grounds.
You know what? It isn't just a children's tent either, because I was sitting there watching those folks, and it's pretty fascinating what those guys can do.
It's a lot of fun. I've been watching them all day too, or all weekend really. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, it's a good addition to the Seafood Festival, and I got a feeling that every year there's going to be another surprise or two in store for the folks that come out here.
Well, this is a great event, and I hope so. The way to go is to keep growing, and I think this is a positive addition to the whole effort.
Well, you know what's going to happen. We're going to run out of room pretty soon. We're pretty well filled up here at Regner Park.
Yeah, there's a lot of activity, and it takes a lot of space, but I think they've had a nice weekend.
Well, we're going to be getting over to the river and possibly get a ride on one of those pontoon boats, and that's a nice little addition too.
Yeah, I haven't even been over there yet, but I hope to do that yet today. It'll be fun.
Well, Michael, I think that should wrap this one up, but thanks for the interview, and good luck to you. I imagine you'll be doing this again next year, right?
Oh, yeah. We'll be here next year. We'll try it again.
Okay, Captain.
Good. Thank you. Yeah, you bet.
Folks, I'm standing here with Judge Schwalbach now, and Judge, you're apparently in charge of the rest of this area.
The lake, Elaine Shanebrook and I are the co-captains of the fish and chips tent, and then we're also responsible for the fry tent that fries the fish and chips, and also French fries, some other things for a couple of the other tents.
Good. We were just over at the lobster thing and talked to Jim Heiligenstein about how he does all the lobsters, and of course you have the complement of the Seafood Festival, and just what do you all serve here?
Well, we're frying up steak cuts. Those are the large French fries. We have cod fillets that we are French frying. We have scallops here. And then a specialty item for the children's area are some little starfish and little porpoises and whatnots that we fry up here also that they serve over there.
Okay, now along with all the seafood fare that is here, we have a standard fare of hot dogs and hamburgers and that kind of thing, don't we?
Yes, that's down the line there. They're cooking just a little ways away here. You'll see the grill where they're cooking the hamburgers and the hot dogs and bratwurst.
So if you don't happen to like seafood fare, you can come out and still have something to eat.
Certainly may.
What the heck could the temperature be in here with all these deep fryers and the temperature outside?
Today it's not bad at all. We've got a nice breeze that's coming out of the east that seems to cool down things. Yesterday it was miserable. We had this thing pretty well opened up, but fortunately, or not unfortunately really, but because of the weather, there wasn't much of a crowd out here during the day, so we didn't have to spend much time frying because we weren't moving very much stuff, but it was hot.
What are some of the prices for these items? Do you know that offhand?
I can't even think in monetary dollars. I can tell you how many tokens. We serve a combo plate, which is scallops and the fish and fries. That's 10 tokens. I think a token's 50 cents a piece, but I'm not sure. And then we have the fish and chips, which is just fish and the fries, and that's 8. Or you can get the scallops and the chips, that's 8 tokens. And then we go down, if you just want the fries, we'll provide those for you for 2 tokens. And if you need something to wash it down, the soda's at 1 token.
That's always interests me. What made you select tokens instead of charging each one individually at the tent itself?
Very simply, is you don't have to handle money at the various tents, and both from a security standpoint in terms of having money readily available that could be gotten by somebody else, and also let's admit that many of us do things other than retail, and some of us would be sitting there using our hands, our fingers, and our toes to figure out the change. When with tokens, you only have to count to 10, and most of us can handle that.
Well, I guess it's all clear to me now. And of course, all this money again is going to the river walk and that type of project.
Right now, most of it is going to the river walk. It's where it's committed. When we meet our obligations there, we also have been sponsoring the purchase of and preservation of wetlands in the West Bend area, and so it'll be used for those kind of projects also.
Okay, well, I appreciate that interview, and this, of course, is June, I think, 19th, isn't it today?
That's correct.
And is it always then what, the second weekend of June?
It's always this weekend. We always have the third day is Father's Day.
Oh, so it's always on a Father's Day
That's
weekend?
Right. It's always been the Father's Day's weekend. We find that we have a certain number of families will bring Dad out for a lobster dinner on Father's Day.
Oh, that's a good idea. You know, and of course, by the time this is on, by the time this is viewed, this program or this show will be over by a week and a half. But in an effort to generate business for next year, people could plan ahead for a Father's Day.
Certainly can. Particularly, they should plan ahead, because if they want lobsters, they got to buy them in ahead. They can't get them at the gate, because we've got to know how many lobsters we need.
Good. I'd like to get a word with one of these other guys here, Judge.
He's our prior
yeah,
here,
if you just stick around here, let me introduce Ron Lorette. Ron and I work together, West Bend Mutual. Ron, how you doing there, bud?
Doing great. Nice and hot by the Friars.
You look like you lost about 10 or 15 pounds this weekend.
Give me this job. It works. It's the best part of my diet for the whole year.
They give it to the people who can afford it, you mean?
That's right. I can afford to lose the pounds.
Did you work this thing all weekend, yesterday and today?
No, we all schedule different times. I have Sunday. My son Mark and I have been doing the frying along with the judge for today. So.
Well, that's one of the questions I wanted to know, that you could not possibly stick one guy or two guys on this thing for the entire weekend, because
no.
this weekend.
We generally run 5-hour shifts with most of them, and so you get one 5-hour shift in the weekend. We have some gluttons for punishment who come back for a second shift on a different day, on another day, but generally it's a 5-hour shift.
One of our biggest problems is getting the volunteer help, because even as large as our club is, to run 2.5 full days, we need a lot of help. So there's a lot of people here that have come to pitch in, that work in the local businesses that are not Rotary members but are kind enough to help us out.
That's right. I think I remember earlier before this thing was even about maybe 2 or 3 weeks before this, you were putting out a call to all service clubs, anybody that wanted to help. Tell us the hours of this thing. I don't think I got that from the folks before. Judge?
It was 5:30 to 10 on Friday, 5 to 10 on Friday, 11 to 10 yesterday, and then it's 11 to, I think, 6.
11 to 6 today.
I believe so. It might be 6:30, but I think it's 6.
Okay. Well, we're going to be looking at a few of the other things yet, and this is really some ambitious project. I keep saying that, but I think you folks are doing some wonderful work for the city of West Bend. Ron, what have you got to say?
Well, I just want to say thank you. It's nice to have you out here, and I imagine you lost a few pounds yourself standing this close to the Friars right now. So
yeah,
feel free to wander down the other tents. You'll find all sorts of activities going on and a lot of different food varieties.
Good. Hey, thanks for the interview. Thanks for the interview, folks, and we'll be seeing you again next year.
Okay, we'll see you.
Okay, good. As we walked out of the area just a moment ago, we're crossing through the children's area again. Of course, you see what's happening here. The balloon man is doing his tricks. Just one of the many things that you can see here at, it looks like a great big popsicle. Just one of the many things you can see here at West Bend Rotary Seafood Festival.
Everybody go, wow!
Wow!
I'm struggling, here goes. There's one. All five, just clap real.
We are once again in the children's area. This is only about 10 yards away from the balloon man. This is a Obviously a juggler. We've got quite a few people sitting around watching this young man. The thing that attracted us a moment ago was he's also a fire eater. And we're going to be juggling some fire. And I don't know if he's going to put them out in his mouth or not, but whatever, folks and children. I want to caution you, don't do this at home.
All right, a quick impression. What am I now?
His question is, what am I now? I would guess the Statue of Liberty.
Statue of Liberty cannot do.
Something the Statue of Liberty cannot do is hold the torch in her left hand.
The sweat is real. Here we go, fire juggling. Everybody make some noise. Make some more.
There's a real showman for you, folks. He's constantly talking while he's juggling.
How about behind my back?
As you can see, there's a number of things on the ground: a bowling ball, a sword, some bowling pins, some batons. This gentleman juggles a variety of things, probably all at the same time too. Once again, folks, don't try this at home.
Want to see it again? Come back tomorrow. Here we go, all three behind my back. This is the easy way right here. Now under my legs. Under the right knee, under the left knee, under the weenie. Great balls of fire. Somebody clap before I burn myself. And the big finish.
There. Entertainment.
Like yesterday, okay.
Standing here with Pat Shearer again. You remember him from the opening comments. Pat, we are now in the token tent. Explain what goes on here.
Well, this is our nerve center. This is really where all the wheeling and dealing is done. We have all of our cashiers here. This is where you come and buy your tokens. You can cash your tokens back in at the end of the night. Basically, we're separating them right behind us here in $5 increments. Each token's worth 50 cents, and they take the tokens to whichever tent they want to go to around the the different tents, and they can purchase whatever they want, from hot dogs to smoked trout to seafood gumbo.
Well, we've just about seen everything. I had a plate of scallops, I think, just a moment ago from one of the young ladies, and my goodness, those things are really good. What I can't figure out how you folks, without any background, without any knowledge, can make this stuff just falling off a log and have it taste so good. How does that work?
Unfortunately, we haven't just rolled off a log on this, so this has been a 4-year learning experience for us. And we also have an insight on a couple people. We have some restaurateurs that are in our Rotary Club, and also we have George Prescott for Prescott's Pick and Saves, who helps us with the selection of the food and the distribution of the food and the apportionments. And without those guys, this would be a lot harder than what it is right now.
So these restaurant folks have helped in determining how long to cook anything or fry anything and all that. But holy cow, those scallops are delicious. One thing you mentioned is that if you don't use your tokens, you could buy maybe $50, $75, $100 worth of tokens, and you can always bring them back and cash them in at the end of the week and end of the night, whatever.
That's great. Correct.
This is something new. I thought at one time when you bought your tokens, they were yours forever.
Well, actually, we've never really had that hard, fast rule that you wouldn't take back your tokens. For a lot of times, people keep them because we're going to have Seafood Fest again next year, and the tokens never change. So, I mean, if you want to hold on to your tokens till next year, they're going to be good for the same 50-cent amount that they were this year.
Well, that's what because I've got a drawer full of a couple of those darn things, and I don't think I didn't think that you offered that ability to cash them in, which is a nice little feature. If you're not going to be back, no sense hanging on to them or losing them during the year.
Right. So we don't want people to be afraid to purchase tokens either. So that, I mean, if they think that they eat $20 worth of tokens, that they can buy the tokens. But if they only eat $15 worth, we'd be willing to take back those tokens too.
Perfect. I imagine you have a beer tent here somewhere too.
Oh, of course, we have the beer and the soda. It was flowing quite well this
also
weekend.
A token deal.
That's also a token deal also.
Okay. Now, one of the questions that occurred while we were in that last tent with Judge Schwalbach was, you know, we've been looking around. I mean, you've got a lot of equipment here, deep frying all this stuff, and of course you saw the lobster thing that we were looking at before, and we just assumed that you wouldn't own all this stuff, that you'd be renting it, and where would you rent all this stuff?
Well, if we had to rent all this stuff, we couldn't put on this fest because we probably wouldn't make any money if we had to rent all of this.
That's what
really,
I'm getting at.
Right. Really, the only stuff that we rent are the tents. The tents are the only thing that we really rent.
The tents and the tables, chairs, that kind of stuff?
The tables and chairs come from Holy Angels Church,
right.
and they come from UWWC. And those are the two facilities where we get the chairs and the tables from. Otherwise, everything else, all the equipment that we have is either we pull it from some of our restaurateurs in our club, or the club actually owns it, like the deep fryers the club owns, the boilers for the lobsters. That's all stuff that the club owns and has purchased over the 4 years. And we also use that for a shrimp boil that we have later on in the year also.
The shrimp oil's been around for some time. Imagine that some of this stuff has been owned since that must be a 10, 15-year project already.
At least that long. I'm not exactly sure how long the shrimp oil's been going on, but a lot of this stuff is used both places.
How long are you a member of the Rotary?
Actually, I'm about 2.5 years I've been in the Rotary Club, so I got into this pretty fast.
You sure did. Pat, now explain what we've got on the wall at Riverwalk Parkway Island Avenue segment. Maybe you could explain what's happening here. This is for all the world to see where your proceeds are going.
Right. This is actually the working copy that the city of West Bend has, and they were gracious enough to let us have this up here this weekend. This is actually the next segment of the Riverwalk that's going to be getting worked on, and they have the exact diagrams of what they have planning for those areas, some of the play areas, some of the picnic areas, from everything to where they need to move footbridges to, and they have to move fencing and all those different types of things. All that is diagrammed on here. And one of our hopes with our Rotary Club is we've been meeting with a lot of the different other Rotary Clubs all along the Milwaukee River, and what our hope is that eventually West Bend can meet the city of Milwaukee somewhere around Thiensville, and we'll have an entire Riverwalk all the way from West Bend all the way to downtown Milwaukee.
When I said you guys were ambitious, I didn't expect that I was going to be that accurate. My goodness, that would be a project.
Yes, it would, and then I think that's something that would be an attraction to this area, and it would be a benefit to all the people that live along the Milwaukee River, as well as all the businesses and just the community in general. It would be something neat for if you wanted to go and take a walk in the evening, or if you, all different types of things. You could have runs, you could have walks just along the Riverwalk. And
this, in fact, to be more specific, I don't know if you had mentioned this before, but this is this new extension is from
Indiana Avenue all the way along Island Avenue. So this is actually through the downtown part of West Bend. If you want to actually take a look at it from Indiana all the way along.
This would be the Water Street, from the Water Street part to Indiana.
Right, that is correct.
And of course, then after this is done, the next portion would be from Regner Park to Barton.
I believe that is the next section that they're looking at expanding it that way. Correct.
Well, I'm getting worn out here just looking at all the stuff you folks are going to be doing.
Well, we think it's a worthwhile effort, and we think this is something that we want to preserve for all the kids that are going to be coming along, so that the Milwaukee River will always be there, and it'll be a clean river, and it'll be something that people will be able to enjoy recreationally also.
Good. I think since we've been mentioning the Milwaukee River, we'll take a walk over there and see what we got, what kind of entertainment we have on the river.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, thanks, Pat. Right now, folks, we're in the middle of the area, in the middle of the Seafood Festival, and Ralph, our cameraman, is doing a slow pan of all the activity that is going on, of the serving tents, the food preparation tents. We're at about 2:30 in the afternoon on a Sunday at maybe 85 degrees. You can see the amount of activity we have here, and now I'd like you folks to meet John Cannonberg. John Cannonberg is with me, and John is responsible for the entertainment that you hear in the background. John, how are you doing?
Fine, thanks.
Who have we got here for this afternoon's entertainment?
This is Alamo, a group out of Fond du Lac, and they do country and vintage rock.
You said that there's going to be a group of line dancers out here doing some line dancing and stuff like that?
Right, we have the Midwest line dancers, and they'll be doing a demonstration and hopefully getting people from the audience to join in on the line dance.
Is that going to be you?
Not likely.
Okay, Ralph, what I want you to do now is take another pan, and John and I will finish up this conversation about the entertainment. Of course, you had the torpedoes last night, I think,
Right.
and the Street Life.
On Friday night, right.
What's the significance of Street Life? What is their claim to fame?
Well, actually, they've been around for a long time. Warren Wiegratz is the leader of Street Life, and for years he was with Oceans. Street Life is currently the house band for the Milwaukee Bucks, so they play during all the games. If you've ever been to Bradley Center.
That's pretty fascinating that you get that kind of high-class entertainment out here. How do you go about that, John? Do you call them? Do they call you? How's it work?
We call them. We work through booking agencies, and it's actually pretty difficult trying to find bands in the month of June with all the weddings. You're competing with quite a few other activities, so we often have to book as much as a year in advance to try to hold somebody to a date.
This kind of reminds me of the Centennial Festival that we had a couple of years back in '85, doesn't it?
Right. It's pretty much that same feeling.
Yeah. And of course, in this case, it's that same feeling every year.
Yes, it really is.
I've gotten a number of course, compliments and comments that possibly you folks should put this thing on like every month.
I don't think so. Once a year is more than enough.
Yeah, I can agree. I'm sure it's well looked forward to, and this year, as in every year, you've had your little rainstorm this afternoon.
Yeah, well, that was enough for today. Yesterday, the little bit of rain was actually pretty welcome. We were just burning up all afternoon out here, and that little bit of drizzle in the afternoon just brought the temperature down enough and got rid of some of the dust. We were all coughing up dust most of the afternoon, so it was okay. I mean, we got rid of the rain in time for the lunch crowd, so I think we'll have a good afternoon.
Well, good. Just out of curiosity, do you have anything booked for next year already that the folks who are going to watch this next week or week after?
We have tentative commitments from both Street Life and the Torpedoes again. We've asked them to keep the dates open. We are not committed at this point, but we're thinking about it.
I understand the Stones are going to be in the States. Maybe you could book those guys.
Get them into our West Bend Stadium over here. Yes.
All right, John. Thanks so much for the interview, and once again, hats off to you and your club. This is a wonderful, worthwhile, ambitious project that you guys have got.
Thanks a lot, Jim.
You're welcome. Well, I finally run into the co-chairman of this area, of this tent, or this whole thing.
This tent.
All right, this is Joel Alschafel, and Joel, tell us what you've got to sell us here today.
Okay, in our tent we handle smoked chubs. We have some shrimp, some mussel, and some smoked trout. We also have some jalapeno peppers and some crabby cakes. And we also handle seafood pita pockets and a pasta pita pocket.
How does anybody know what to order? I mean, soup, chubs, I mean, you got almost every darn seafood thing imaginable here.
Well, that's the whole idea of this whole event, is to have different types of seafood for people to choose.
When somebody would order one of these, what would you eat it with? You just eat these things alone? One of these chubs with a couple of beers? Or
Yes, you just eat them alone.
These are peel and eat shrimp, apparently?
Peel and eat shrimp, and then the mussels, and then the smoked trout.
Well, this is quite amazing. How much would you get for some of this stuff? A couple of tokens, 2-3 tokens, you know?
Well, you've got me at a disadvantage now. I'll have to get to the chart here to tell you what.
So much for a co-chair, huh? You're not in charge of that.
Right. But the prices are up in the board out in front there, and we have different prices on all of this. This is priced out beforehand so that we assume we make somewhat of a profit on this.
Once again, this is a pretty ambitious project. And what made you folks way back 4 years ago choose seafood? You could have had steak fry, you could have had buffalo, venison. What made you choose seafood? Or do you even know something like that?
Well, the idea originated with about 4 or 5 members of the local Rotary Club who had heard of this event in, I believe it was Manitowoc, or rather Michigan, Lower Michigan. And they thought it was a good idea, brought it back here, and it originally started to gather money to do the Riverwalk, which we were very instrumental in doing down here. It's gotten a bigger event now, and we're using the funds for the Riverwalk and for other things in the community area.
Good.
So it sort of started out of a Michigan idea and brought down here.
I see. That's where it came from. I imagine the Michigan Club is still running theirs, and it's quite successful. Yeah.
We believe they are, yes.
Wouldn't it be nice to have those folks down here, invite them down to see what we've done with ours?
They have been down here already. They have been down here already to see how we're doing. Now other clubs are taking the same idea to their areas.
So so that is a fascinating little feature that other clubs are checking out what we here in West Bend have done. Right. And I only say we because somehow I feel part of all this, even though I'm not a Rotarian, as you probably know.
Yes. But the Nina Club is going to be starting it this year also, I believe, and they've been down here to our event here, getting ideas.
Good. And just for the record, I am a Kiwanian, so
we won't hold that against
you. I know. I know you'd have to have some comment on it. Good, Joel, and thanks so much for this little interview. We're trying to get over to the river and actually look at some of the river walk that we've been talking about all day long, and of course all the entertainment that is on the river at the moment.
All right. Okay.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Bye. Folks, we're in the entertainment tent now, and we're having Alamo perform, and you can see we've got a couple of line dancers performing. They'll be teaching line dancing here this afternoon, and we'll have this whole dance floor full of people learning how to line dance. The two couples that are dancing represent two different clubs, one from Fond du Lac and one from the area, and I'll be talking to them right after this number. See how much fun line dancing appears to be. All you need is some cowboy boots, a snakeskin belt, cowboy hat, a couple of spurs, a jingle jangle jingle, and a horse, and not to mention some gun medals. Brought those two people outside here, and I wonder, can you hear me over the noise in the background?
Yeah, we can hear you okay.
These two people represent the Kickers Corral in, I guess a little south of Menominee Falls, north of Milwaukee.
Right.
I'm standing here with, you are?
I'm Therese Walworth and my husband Dave Walworth.
Dave.
Therese and Dave, is it?
Right, Dave. Yeah.
Okay. Tell us how you found out about the Seafood Fest and what all you're going to be doing for us today.
Well, we found out about the Seafood Fest from the WBWI radio station here in West Bend because they're one of our sponsors on our TV show, The Country Dance Connection, so they let us know about it.
Dave, she said the Country Dance Connection. Tell us about your TV show. You do represent Kickers Corral. Tell us about all that.
Okay, well, at Kickers Corral, we teach there Wednesday through Friday nights. We teach line dancing and partner dancing. Then we have a TV show. It's on Sunday nights on Channel 58, and it's also on cable. And it's on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. from 9 to 10 p.m. And we teach a line dance on there, and then we have people dancing on the show, and we feature latest hot videos, and we feature local bands, and it's a dance program for an hour long.
This all broadcast live then from Kickers Corral?
Yes.
It's not live. It's a taped program.
But it's broadcast from Kickers Corral?
Kickers Corral, right.
That's where the show's taped.
I like the complimentary shirts, by the way.
Yeah.
What do you charge for that kind of service?
To come to a dance lesson, it costs $3 at our classes.
And how do you folks? You're teachers, is that right?
Yeah. We have our own dance group. It's called the Midwest Country Dancers.
Dave and Teresa's Midwest Country Dancers. Wow. Yeah. I'd like one of those shirts too.
Yeah. Well, we can make sure you get.
Okay, so now you teach all this stuff. What I'd like to know is where do you know these dances? How do you learn new dances all the time? Where do they come from?
Well, we get a lot of information from other instructors that we meet up with, and I'm also involved with a club where I get latest videos from other dance instructors that teach professionally, like out in Nashville and Florida, and they send us some choreographed dances that they've done, and a lot of it's just through other instructors and dance groups and through other areas.
Do you have a big crowd then on your nights that you're teaching at the Kickers Corral?
Yeah, we usually get close to 100 people sometimes for a lesson because it's such a popular thing. Everyone loves to learn line dancing. That's what we're going to be doing today here. We're going to be teaching between the band breaks.
That's great. That's fascinating. Are you donating your time here today, or is Rotary of West Bend paying you something for this?
No, we are being paid for this, right?
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to be out here throughout the day teaching line dances between the band breaks.
Can you actually line dance without cowboy boots and big fat cowboy buckles?
Yeah, it's easy, especially on the ground like this. But yeah, on a dance floor, on a wooden dance floor, you wouldn't want to wear tennis shoes because you'd be sticking on the floor.
You bet.
Yeah.
You bet. I can just believe it. Thanks for stopping out here, folks, and talking to me. And good luck to your show, Teresa and Dave, and good luck to your business. How long have you been doing that stuff?
It's going to be our third year now. Yeah, our third year dancing, and we've been teaching now for about a year and a half.
Oh, and it just occurred to me, Kicker's Corral, and let's get an actual address because people watching this might want to come down.
Yeah, Kicker's Corral is right on Highway 100 in Silver Spring. If you're taking Highway 4145 south, you would exit Silver Spring, and it's right on the corner.
And for those folks who might know, my age probably, it would be the Old Attic West.
Yeah, the Old Attic West, right.
And
Milwaukee.
The nights that you perform?
Wednesday through Friday night, and they're also open on Saturday nights with another couple that teach, and they're open Wednesday through Saturday nights.
And you guys do it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
Right. And now we have two separate classes where we teach out in Mequon and Waukesha on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Let me guess, you don't have any full-time jobs? You do this for a living?
I do this full-time. My wife, she's a cosmetologist.
You do this full-time? You can make a living out of teaching dancing?
Sure.
Yeah, we do a lot of demonstrations, a lot of fairs and private parties, corporate parties. Sure, we get hired for their entertainment.
This is the best, huh? How can you beat it? Doing stuff, making a living on stuff you love to do.
And you're having fun doing it. That's
right. Everyone else is having fun too.
Yeah,
so.
And we enjoy watching the people, that are learning, and they just have a great time with it.
Well,
we got to get going because we got to teach over there.
Geez.
So.
Hey, thanks for stopping, folks, and good luck to you guys.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Thank you. Folks, we're on Highway 45, actually Main Street, West Bend, looking north. And as you can see, we're across the road are a number of vendors, arts and craft vendors that have come here from all over southeastern Wisconsin selling their wares. They, as you heard earlier, they purchase a spot to put up a tent. And there are a number of interesting items in there. I stopped and looked at this earlier this morning. Paintings and drawings and carvings and whatnot. People driving by and waving, and as you can see, the next thing we're going to be looking at is the riverboat rides. There's a sign right across the way here. Right on our Milwaukee River, there's a pontoon boat and a number of paddle boats for rent, and we're going to see if we can't take one of those out for just a little bit. Finally made it, folks. We've been talking about the river walk. We've been talking about coming down to the river all show long, and here we are finally, and you can see what we've got to offer down here. A couple of paddle boats and a pier, a walkway, and most importantly, pontoon boat rides, and I've got a few people who are in charge here. And let me start with the young lady. Your name, please?
Carol Brockman.
And the old guy?
Don Bell.
Don, maybe you could take your sunglasses off so we can see what you look like.
That's called incognito,
Okay, Don was incognito. Don, of course, is the owner-proprietor of Donnie Bell Southern
Cedar Lake Sales.
That's it, Cedar Lake Sales. Okay. And we're going to be taking a short ride out here, aren't we?
Sure.
And see what we've got to offer out on the lake. Just one thing, though, Don. How long have you been doing this? I know this is not your first time out.
Well, this is our fourth year, and there's quite a bit involved getting this all in and out. There's actually 6 pedal boats on the water that we loan out to this organization, and a pier and a pontoon boat. And we have all kinds of excitement getting in and out. We have to lift the crane in with a pontoon, with a crane. So, well, let's go.
Let's save some of that for the interview. We're going to take a ride down the river, and why don't you folks come on out and join us?
We can take all the people on.
You can see them all boarding here, a bunch of happy faces. We're all going out. Everybody's got their life preservers. This is all. This is going to be a big crew. They're asking permission to come aboard, Captain, and of course the captain's granting permission to everybody. We're going to have a full house on this trip.
This is the first mate. First mate. Okay.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
Okay. The first mate's got a job though.
I got it.
Right here. You're gonna hang on, okay? All right.
Okay, we're heading off. We're underway. We're underway, and of course it's a beautiful day for a ride, and I'm here once again with Carol. What was your last name again, Carol?
Brockman.
Carol Brockman. And Carol, your function with the Rotary, what's your responsibility?
I chair the tent, so I sell the tickets and help people load and unload.
Okay, and you are a Rotary member then, are you?
Yes, I am.
Okay, it's unusual, maybe not so unusual, but within the last couple of years, the service clubs of West Bend have, in fact, the nation have accepted women as members. How long have you been a member?
For about a year and a half.
Okay, and how many members does the Rotary have that are female?
I would say 6 or 8, huh, Bessie? 6 or 8 females?
That's good. I'm not trying to be sexist here or anything, but I think it's wonderful that you folks have...
Overwhelmingly male.
Well, but that's all to change, Carol, right?
Right.
Okay, and I'd like to know how many folks have taken a trip for the weekend. Would you know that?
Not exactly, but we probably had, I would say 150 at least down here.
That is a lot of people. And the trip...
It's been much better this year than last year with the rain and cold weather. We've had real good luck.
Well, people are trying to probably get some relief.
From the heat, right.
No kidding. What is a trip, what does one of these little pontoon trips cost?
It's $7 a person, and children under 5 are free, so a family can go for $14.
$7 a person, that takes you out for how long?
45 minutes.
Where do we go?
Well, you go way out around the bend. What is
It's about a mile up the
road and down to the dam.
All right. Carol, thanks for that. And let me talk to the captain now. I've got a few questions I'd like to talk with him about. Thanks, Carol. Captain Don.
Yes, sir.
Steady as she goes?
Oh, yes. Aye.
How's the sea today? Pretty calm, do you think?
It's beautiful.
How would you describe it as beautiful?
Oh, it is beautiful. It's fun all the way up and down the river. There's lots of wildlife to see. There's all kinds of carp up there spooning in the mud.
Spooning or spawning?
Spawning in the mud.
How fast do you think we're going at this point?
Oh, we're just barely moving. We like to just go slow and enjoy the scenery that's aboard.
Looks like we're doing about 1.
Yeah, 1.5 maybe.
Okay, well, Ralph pans the area here. Ralph, you might want to turn around because we got a bridge coming up, and I don't want you to get your head clipped off. You can see the bridge to the West Bend Company from their parking lot. Ralph, you'd have a nice big goose egg on the top of your head with this one. Don, you were talking before about all the work and effort that goes into one of these little things that you put on for the Seafood Festival.
Oh, sure. Well, like if Ralph wants to pan over here, this is the parking lot where we set it in by. We have a gentleman by the name of Jack Dietenberger who's got Trail Right Firewood. I got to get a plug in for him too. He donates his crane, and we picked this boat up with a crane and set it into the water here.
And he brings the crane over in a flatbed or something?
Oh, it's on a truck-mounted crane.
Oh, okay.
And he sets us in the water, and then he picks us back out again. Tonight at 7 o'clock, if you want to get a good shot, you should see that. I get a heart attack watching it going in and out, you know.
Well, I would guess. What kind of equipment what are we floating on here today? Give yourself a little plug.
Well, we've got a 20-foot Sun Cruiser pontoon boat that we're floating on. I got a 50-horsepower motor on it, and we are able to negotiate these curves and the shallow areas with it. It has a real shallow draft, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many folks are involved in putting all this in for you?
Well, I have usually 3 of my helpers and a couple of trucks and trailers, and they spend about 15 hours putting it in, and then another 15 coming out.
Is this a donation then, or did you take some money back from the club, or how? It seems like an awful expensive proposition.
This is a donation.
Wow.
And we hope to see this river walk extend up through this area, and if you want to catch that, I don't want to point a finger anywhere, but eventually that's where it's going to go, right, Bessie? Yeah.
All the way up the river to Barton.
Yeah. Bessie Roan is one of our patrons aboard here today, and that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see some of that out there on pilings that people could walk over it, Bessie, you know?
That's in the plans.
That's in the plans, okay.
That, once again is quite an ambitious project that the City of West Bend, and of course, along with that, the Rotary Club has undertaken. Sure. You are obviously a member of the Rotary Club then?
Yes, sir, I am.
Good.
They conned me into this.
I bet you helped along a little bit.
Well, yes, I enjoy this. I really do. I'm very sincere about it. My sons are taking over my business, and I hope they can continue this forever. Okay?
Good. Well, Don, maybe I could get an interview with some of the folks that are on this little trip. I'm closest to this young lady. Maybe you'd like to say a few words. Well, hi. What's your name?
Marianne.
Marianne, are you getting a little seasick?
No, I love this. It feels comfortable.
This your first trip?
With this, yes. Yeah. I've been on this type of boats in Horicon.
Well, where are you from? And what's your last name, too?
Richter, and we're from Grafton.
Wow, you're all the way from Grafton. And this, the family here? Introduce them for you.
This is Greg, Mitchell, Gina, and Robert.
Robert being your husband?
Fiancé.
Hi, Robert. How you doing?
Pretty good.
You've got the tail end of the thing here. That's the most important part of the whole outfit, you know.
Yeah, I'm surprised everybody in the front isn't tipped up forward.
Well, let me meet some of the folks up in front. Ralph, excuse me while I walk in front of you. Hi there, guys. Here's a Rotary member.
That's right.
Maybe you could introduce yourself and your date.
I'm Bessie Rowan, my wife Ruth, and my daughter Barbara, and my granddaughter Hannon.
Hi, everybody. I bet you've all taken this trip before in one time or another.
Well, I'm sorry to say this is my first ride.
Is it?
And I was looking forward to it all day.
Very fine.
Oh, isn't this relaxing? I could do this all day long, and maybe with a fishing rod we let out some line. What the heck, huh?
It's a beautiful day in Wisconsin.
Jesse, what's your function with the Seafood Festival?
I'm going to work in the chicken gumbo tent at 3:30.
Well, I won't be around anymore at 3:30.
I'm sorry to hear that. I just wanted to say that I'm a Rotarian for 38 years, and this is one of our most ambitious programs we've had. This is our 4th year, I believe, and each year it's more successful. We draw more people, and we really want to thank all the citizens of Washington County for paying us a visit at the West Bend Rotary Seafood Fest.
Jesse, I think you've done
You'll
such
have to say Vesey, V like in Victor.
Oh, it's Vesey.
Short for Sylvester.
Oh, I'm sorry. It just seemed like it was Jesse.
Well,
Jesse, you did a wonderful wrap-up, and I was going to do pretty much the same thing. This is how I wanted to end the show, and you have said just everything I wanted to say, Vesey, and maybe I could do that right now. And once again, as Vesey said, we're here at the West Bend Rotary Seafood Festival. It's the 4th annual, and it's June 19th, I believe. It was a Father's Day weekend. This has been a West Bend Community Cable project for the private public access channel. My name is Jim German, and thanks for watching, and so long, everybody. We're at the West Bend Company Dam, and you can see what kind of activity we have here. There's a kind of a mini park here. It's a dam, as you see, and there's people fishing and laying around, catching some sun. You can see some kids on in the dam area, just walking through the dam, getting their feet wet, and doing some fishing. Kind of a lazy, hot summer Father's Day afternoon.
We could go over the top, Jim, but the stop is a beast on that other end.
That was our captain speaking, suggesting that we go up over the top of the dam. And Don, don't ever come up with an idea like that again.
Well, see, you can't be so serious. You have to be loose, you know, and you got to have fun, you know. If we had to walk around with a real straight face all the time, I wouldn't be me. I know my wife would figure I'd be dead then. You know.
Tell you what, you keep talking like that, and we're gonna have you're gonna have a mutiny on your hands.
Why not? Why didn't you think of that?